meeting to order. Additions to the agenda.
I added City0519 as citizen comments.
Okay.
And I'd like to have a 5-minute executive session for possible hire part-time help. And then I have a report on the formula playground.
Okay, the attorney would like to add an executive session for attorney-client privilege under his area. Are there any other additions to the agenda?
I need an executive session under new business.
For
Non-elected personnel. City personnel.
that's what non-elected works. Any other additions to the agenda?
I just have some replies from some stuff that they asked for from last meeting.
You
on
can include
my
that in your
department.
report.
Yeah, I'll just put it in my report.
All right. If there are no other additions to the agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Hartman?
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm here to talk to you about sidewalks. The First Avenue project that's actually you're going to have a public hearing on next week. But as part of the process for the application, we're putting together a preliminary engineering report. And with that report, I was just wanting to garner a little more background information from the City Council on basically the needs component of what we're writing the report for. We've identified the condition of the sidewalks. We've identified the lack of sidewalks in a portion of the corridor that we're looking at, and then adding that, making it a connection for on the east end of the church, the care facility, as well as tie in with businesses on 281, and then on the west end, just basically a connectivity with some of the other areas in the target income area. I just wanted to get if there was anything on the city input the city council might have towards what other improvement needs or comments you might have, just to be able to reflect the desire to have an improvement of that nature. We don't want to make a statement in our report that isn't substantiated. I don't want to make any claims that it's a priority with the city or something of that nature unless it is. And I just want to find out from the council what you see towards that project. That why are we looking at it, and is there anything that not being from here? Is there anything I'm missing as to what else is important about having connectivity like that?
I don't think you're missing anything. It's really important that we've developed a safer means of passage down that First Street corridor for people who are trying to get to Farmers Clinic, the County Health Department, and potentially out to Dollar General. It's also a benefit for our healthy communities in that it gives a good distance of walking path to add to existing sidewalks. Anybody else?
Now we do have the sidewalk survey and information that identified First Avenue as being one of those corridors for developing for walkability, and we are emphasizing that. But if
At some point, it would be nice if we could do something from First down Monroe Street to the school and get a solid sidewalk into that area.
I tried, but they said we can't do that with this money. we can do what we can, but
Yeah.
we can't go to the county
Right.
property.
I understand.
So we're going to try to make that connection as best we can.
Yeah.
But it-
Another
but it-
project.
But at least it gets us with this funding mechanism, which again is ideal with the 90-10. You don't see that often, if ever. And then we just want to try to build a supporting case for you, make up the probability.
I was going to say, I can honestly say that without the grant, this isn't something we would be looking at in probably the next 5 to 10 years.
And then the other thing, while I'm here, be remiss, I think there was some discussion on the city portion of financing, of trying to do in-kind services as much as possible. And in looking at that, there's some components that we see, the concrete removal, some of the work of that nature that could be incorporated by the city, but whether or not that fully, we don't anticipate that would fully make up the 10%, but I didn't know if there was anything else that had in mind as an improvement along that corridor as a need that the city could still participate in and look at it as from the standpoint of, are we missing anything else that might be warranted along there? I don't know if there was the thoughts of it as far as like a shade station or anything like that.
Shade station.
Something that, not so much sidewalk, but like a trips system, you would have things of that nature. I didn't know if there was any other amenity along through there that was ever brought up that we want to consider. Bicycle racks or anything, just there's other things that could go along with walkability and things like this. But yeah, you're right. You need a destination, and we can't go to the destination that would need it.
Right.
I just don't want to miss anything that if we ask for it now, we can get it if it's approved, but we couldn't after we had our hearings and the grants awarded that pretty much just locked in what was asked for.
Right now, I think we'd just be looking at the sidewalk. I can't think of a good spot to put something like bike racks or anything along those natures, because most of that is private property there.
Isn't that deadline the 29th?
Next week.
Next week. Yes,
Three mail
we've got a
cases.
special hearing on Tuesday night to public hearing, town hall meeting kind of thing. And then once we're through with that, I think we're ready to submit.
This report will be ready for that.
On something like that, will local contractors be used?
It would be put out for public bid. There was procurement criteria that the funding requires, and it would be notice in the paper and outreach to minority disadvantaged businesses. Everybody's given an opportunity that does that type of work, but we also outreach to the, like I said, minority or disadvantaged businesses. Local businesses typically would be perceived to have an advantage if they're not traveling overnights and all that. But
If you know somebody that you think might be interested, you might want to let them know about the special meeting on Tuesday so they can be there to hear what's going on.
yeah, the one thing I suppose that does the separation of who really bids on these jobs and who doesn't is their capacity to be bonded, as well as there is Davis-Bacon wage rates requirements, which means there's a fairly substantial accounting paperwork that they have to turn in, and if a contractor has never done that before, that's sometimes a burden. It's not that they can't, it's just there's other layers to it than just one order. Wouldn't want to turn anybody away that's interested. We like to have people bid. I'm encouraged to that. Again, just want to take a few minutes of your time just to make sure there's something there that I haven't addressed or could still address here if there was something.
Got it covered.
And then we'll have the hearing. So.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Consent agenda. Approve minutes for the regular meeting of 5/5/2015. Approve minutes for special meeting of 5/7/2015. Approve appropriation ordinance 0508/2015 in the amount of $22,000. Approve appropriation ordinance 0519/2015 in the amount of $27,448.80. And the Arbor Day proclamation for 2015. Is there any discussions?
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Chip Sanders?
I don't have anything.
I do not see Police Chief. John?
First thing I have here is we've had to replace the microphone on their sound system, which is, I'm guessing to be, what, about 15 years old, Jeff? That
It's
sounds-
probably bought in the mid-90s, I imagine.
Yeah.
Probably older than that.
So it's done well, but we had to replace it. It cost $399.95. I would ask if you would consider taking that out of the cornwall fund. Otherwise, the Jubilee will be funded. But I felt like it definitely could be taken out of the cornwall since that's where the sound system originated, and this is basically just maintenance, replacing the part that's worn out.
But isn't the Jubilee basically the only thing we use it for?
No, there's been other folks that have used it. No, we do use it every Jubilee, but there's been other groups that have used it as well.
City groups or outside groups?
Outside groups.
I mean, do you have the money in the Jubilee fund?
We can find it. I can get more donations. I can.
What did you say the cost was?
$399.95.
And it was originally bought for the cornwall fund?
Yeah, the whole sound system was bought in the late 1990s.
What did we
From the
replace
cornwall.
last year?
Last year we replaced speaker. We added speakers.
Was that also out of the cornwall fund?
I believe so.
I mean, I know where it came from, but still, if the majority of the use is out of the Jubilee, I don't think Jubilee ought to pay for it.
Well, it's available to anybody who wants to use the sound system.
I think if it came out of one fund, they must have wanted us to use it for stuff like that, so I don't see a problem with taking it out of there.
Or are we gonna take something else out of the cornwall fund?
Playground equipment.
I don't have a problem with it.
Everybody needs to make a motion. Dan?
I don't, I'm kinda like, so if it's used to the Jubilee, then the Jubilee.
The microphone's already been purchased, correct?
Yeah. We had to have it. It's in 2 days.
I'll make a motion to leave it up coming out of the,
You don't have to make any motion if you don't want to allow it, because it's already coming out of the Jubilee. You don't have to make a motion if you're not going to take it out of something else.
You had a motion on the table.
no.
Okay, next item.
To approve the application for the cereal malt beverage license for the Jubilee Beer Garden. Doris Tompkins, just like last year.
Hey, John, I do have a question on that. If it would rain that night, could we move it to the livery stable, which is across the street from a church? Could we get like a one-time zoning special permit use to do that? Is that possible?
You have to go through the process. I don't know whether there's sufficient time.
There's not sufficient time?
I don't know, I'd have to review the
Can our zoning override the state law?
I don't know if there's state law. I thought that the problem was you guys had previously adopted an ordinance regarding location of.
Doesn't the state?
Well, first of all,
have
do you
that
guys
too?
sell the cereal malt? How does that work? You
Yes,
sell?
we sell. And then we send in a stamp to the state. Stamp fee.
I've never looked at it in relation to state law. If the ordinance was governing the situation, then you could amend the ordinance, but I think your zoning regulations, and even takes a step further, zoning regulations say whether you can sell liquor in certain areas. That's the problem.
Say the other thing, that may open another can of worms with the problem we've already had. Right up the street here.
And maybe I'm not understanding the state laws correctly. I don't know what it does. Let's see if I'm.
Yeah, but if that's correct, then how can you have it over there next to the school and the library? How can Elmwood have an after-harvest special on the streets? I don't
How
know.
about if I just call the state tomorrow and see what I can find out?
I mean, I can look at it in relation to the zoning. You guys are being, oh, you're not being.
Process because school's on session. That might be something, but I know what
I don't think so. Church is
I'm
out of
just-
session, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
I don't know
saying.
either.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong with that. So.
Like I said, if
Yeah.
that's not the case, it's gonna open a great big
Oh
can
yeah.
of worms.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're talking special event.
One person can apply for it, another one can't do.
I think the big difference with commercial zone property and residential. That's what because he could rezone.
That's probably true. But the thing is, you'll still probably get something. We'll probably get something from it by doing it. I'm just saying, you know, end up causing a heartache and headache for us.
I guess what does the council want me to do? I can look, I didn't bring my zoning book with me. It's not something I memorized, but I can look. I guess I'm more concerned about the time. I mean, I doubt it provides me that's
Because we would have to know something like that.
You'd have to notice neighbors and everything.
But it might be,
It
if
would
that's
be worth following up on so that we know for next year.
next year.
Yeah, it would definitely.
If we can do it by bypassing our own zoning and not have to worry about the state.
Right.
Anything else, John?
We had a motion made, but not a second yet on that
So
CND.
the motion fails for lack of a second.
Well, there
No,
was discussion.
Yeah, I think there was discussion right after the motion was made.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, wasn't that for the,
To approve the CND.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
motion was for that.
Okay.
What's the location on that?
Just where it's always been.
So,
Have you got, is somebody notified to get permission?
We've got
Because
permission.
that guy's health's not very good.
Yeah, we visited with him.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve the application for cereal malt beverage. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I had.
No?
Okay, last meeting, when Jamie Lauper's name was brought up for the assistant manager, it was never voted on or approved by the council. The name was just mentioned, so I guess Donna found it when she was doing it.
Yeah, we got started looking at the wages and everything. You made motions on the wages, but we never made a motion to hire the assistant manager. So,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, I'd like to request a 5-minute executive session in regards to a possible hire for part-time summer help for 5 minutes, including self, council, mayor, and attorney.
Is there a motion?
So be it.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
To read.
Motion.
I move to hire Hannah Fierros for part-time summer help at $8 an hour.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Last council meeting, I was asked to check into cost of installation of the playground equipment that was purchased by the Davises as a memorial, and checked with Fry and Associates, who was the seller of the equipment, and for them to come down and put the equipment up is $5,000. And the only other question that would need to be answered is what type of safety material the city would want to purchase to put down. You're all familiar with the wood fiber we've used for years, and you all know we have to replace it. It's decomposes and everything, and it would need to be 12 inches thick underneath this because it does settle. The fall height on this is only 4 feet, but they recommend going with 12 inches just simply because it does, settle after a period of time. They do have, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's a kind of a rubber material. It's not the shredded tires, but they actually have the material, and they add a polymer to it, lay it out, and then they roll it out, and it sets up, and it makes a uniform pad, basically, is what it does. And you put it over the top of a compacted base like AB3, 4 inches AB3. You can either put a sidewalk around it. You can put sometimes they've said they've seen like a 6-inch wide by 12-inch tall, like a concrete curb. You leave it stick up a little bit to keep the mowers and trimmers and everything off of it, and then put the rubber pad over the top of that. So the back up here with the installation would be $5,000, and they install the border timbers and the cost of the wood fiber, and we can save $1,750 if we install the wood fiber ourselves, which we're pretty experienced at that. So the cost of that would be $7,520. To go with it's called jungle turf is what the rubberized material is, and it is the installation of the equipment will be the same, and then the cost of the material is $8,816. I asked him about the life on this. They have a 5-year warranty on it, but he said he's seen getting 10 years out of this, and it's repairable. If somebody gouges it or cuts it or whatever, they can send out material in a kit to basically repair it. It works out real well that way. So, and then with the border to go around there, that's $2,420, and an AB3 base around $800 for that. So that's a total of $17,036 for that if you go with the jungle turf. So the other option with the wood fibers and the timbers and then putting in is $7,520. And there's about $20,000 in the
I'll make a motion to go with the wood fibers and just have them get it done. Just have them do the whole project.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I'll get with them and get it scheduled, and he said, with their kind of work, he says we're all that they do is several state area, but what happens is we'll get it, like right here, if they were scheduled to come into St. John right now, it's rainy and everything, they just go somewhere else, they don't sit still, so it may be a while, several months, or it could be, they could get to it in a month, so I'll just get them and get it scheduled, and we'll go from there.
I would think if it's a couple months that we maybe ought to look at something else. See if there's somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can't get it done fairly quick.
Well, I can talk to him, and that's all I could get at him. He says it may be out there to July, or it may be, you know, he didn't say a month, but they might get it sooner. So he just said if we get on the list, I guess we could give him a shot and see what happens and go from there. So. Okay. All right, I'll get with Steve. Go from there. And that's all I had.
Do you want to make the motion contingent on, or rescind the previous motion and make the motion contingent on it being completed in a certain amount of time?
Well, if we need to do that, we can surely do that next meeting. He can find out and hopefully have a better idea when they can be here. And then if it's a long time, we can always change it.
All right.
So,
All right, I'll contact you.
and see if we can find somebody else or whatever at that point.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Last meeting I brought up about putting the metering in on the engines down at the plant to feed back to Midwest Energy, and you've requested a sheet to want to know what the cost of kilowatt is, and the cost is a little over 18 cents. But that's just a raw cost with fuel oil and any lube oil that we'd add, but that's not a very good figure, and the reason is because those engines run with day tanks. Those day tanks kick off and on depending on how much fuel's in the tank when they start and how much when they end up. The other thing is that the kilowatts change by the second on the load, and so you can have 1300 kilowatts on that board, you might have 1550 the next minute or the next 5 minutes. And the more load you put on those engines, the cheaper it gets. When the turbochargers kick in, why the price goes down, because they make more kilowatts for the same amount of fuel. So basically about 18 cents is about what it costs to generate when we have to. We made a little over 29,000 kilowatts last year and burned about a little over 1,700 gallons of fuel. So that's basically what it costs. That's outages and anything that we pushed back, or if they called and wanted to shut us off for a while for maintenance or whatever the case may be. So that's what we made for the total year last year for emergency and otherwise. So that gives you a cost of.
And they're going to pay us what?
They'll pay us the raw cost of what we pay them, whatever the contract cost is.
Which is what?
I don't know.
About 8.5 cents.
No, it's not that high. About 4, isn't it, Mel? Just under 4 cents.
I don't remember.
I don't know what the last
Contract
contract
price
was.
per
I don't have a clue.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
have a contract somewhere?
the contract was signed before I came back, so I don't really know.
Is it easily accessible?
Not at this moment.
I think it's right at 8 cents.
Well, there was base, and then there was,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a
there's
couple of different
there's
tiers.
surcharge,
There's like
there's
2.5 cents or something like that.
and fuel adjustment, and I mean there's quite a few things that hinge into it. So
I don't remember seeing anything 2.5 cents. I think the base was,
it used to be 2.8 was the wholesale cost, but I don't know now. They changed the peak shaving, and that stuff took us off the peak shaving and that type of stuff. But I'm about sure it's not over 4.
So it's going to cost us 18 cents and they're going to pay us 4?
Well, they'll pay you back the raw cost is what they'll do, the same as what they charge you. They're not going to give you any more just because you run on diesel fuel instead of natural gas. That's what it amounts to.
Okay, but what we generated last year, we had to generate. It
Mhm.
wasn't a case of we chose to.
No, No.
So basically, we would incur those costs, but we would at least get that, whatever that base rate at.
But now part of that's outages. I mean, it's because we're in the dark, you know. But the other, you know, if they're doing line maintenance and they want to shut that 34,000 line down, then we generate to keep the town on. I mean, it's a cost we incur, and you know, and they're going to give us back the same cost as what they would charge you for a kilowatt, but that's all they're going to give us. They're not going to give us any adjustment for the cost of fuel, or, you know, it's just a wholesale cost, is what it is.
But we're not getting anything right now.
Mm-mm. No. No, and you're not going to make money at it. No matter how you look at it, you're looking at it like you want to make money at it, but you're not going to make money at it.
No, that's not
You
my
make
point.
money at it by the power plant sitting there.
Right, but that wasn't my point.
But
Point.
what we're giving to them now, feeding back to them, we ain't getting paid for because
No.
they have no way to look at it. And that's
No.
that's what that deal does. That
Yes.
we wasn't-
It'll meter everything that we push back.
Which costs what?
About, I told you last time, but I can't remember. Let me look. 23,835 for all the metering going clear back to their metering point, which is about 5,000 less than what they'd originally quoted us, because they've come up with a meter that they can use one meter to meter all three engines, and then they'll go according to point of use of which meter or which generator we're running. So
So how many years are we looking at payback?
well, it'll never pay back. It just won't do it.
Okay.
Nothing.
Why would we want to do it?
Because for one reason, they want to know what they're taking from you. That's
Well,
part of
then
it.
that's
And
what
we
we
want to
do.
know what we're sending, and the reason is because every month, if we generate, there's a church surcharge goes on your bill, comes out from Greg Wright, that helps pay for this. And has been since the day that we started using Greg, which has been 15, 18 years. I mean, we charge a fuel charge, just like they do us when we buy from them, as far as the summertime rate or the wintertime rate.
But they're not going to pay us a fuel surcharge, are they?
You get charged a surcharge, and we charge a surcharge.
I know we get charged, but they're not going to pay us. a
No,
fuel
they're not.
surcharge.
They're going to pay you a flat rate.
Okay. I guess I'm missing where the advantage point is on this then.
The advantage
Just
point
spend
on the
more
whole
money.
deal is that without that power plant, you're going to pay, your customers are going to pay 9 cents a kilowatt probably, which is a great deal because right now they pay 13. But you're also going to have dirt streets, no police department or nothing else without it.
I didn't say I want to get rid of the electric department, but why do we want to put that meter in there?
Because we want to know what goes back to them, because we charge for it. We charge for the electricity, whether we push it out or we generate ourselves. We still charge the customer for that. We still get our money back through the billing that we do. It's still billed out. And it's billed out on our end at a fuel adjustment rate, whatever the rate is for that month, depending on how many kilowatts we generate. We don't generate any, we still charge a charge, but it's not as high as it is when we generate. And it makes up part of the cost for the fuel and that stuff. No, it's not a money-making deal. No, there's no two ways about it. It's not a money-making deal.
Okay.
But it's part of the maintenance. It's just part of the maintenance of keeping things up and knowing where your money's going. That's all it is.
John, did you call Greg Wright and get the cost of that race?
He sends it out every month.
We need to get the contract and look at it.
I have a contract down in my file cabinet.
That's what I'm thinking.
I have one down in my file cabinet in my office. I haven't looked at it because it was already done before I came back, but I have one.
Mel, do you remember?
No, I really don't.
I was thinking it was 6.5%, 7%. Percent. And
Okay,
then
so
peak
copies
power
of that
jumped
for
up to
next
like
week.
31 cents or 36 cents. But that block power, I'm pretty sure was somewhere around that 6, 8 cents.
make copies of that contract and get in your next packet.
Jeff, did you have anything else? Thank you. John?
In your packet is a ordinance number 1030, which addresses the hearing officer amendment that I suggested last time in the council regarding who hears disputes regarding the shutoff of utilities. Right now, the hearing officer is the city clerk, which creates, I think, conflict, but an issue in fact that the city clerk maintains the records. Then also under current ordinance, the current code is the hearing officer. This makes the mayor the hearing officer. I've reviewed the different requirements in the mayor and the council president. I thought it fit more with the mayor's requirements under city code. And also, I put a provision in there that the mayor's in the make what we call findings of fact, meaning that she just has to make a written reason as to why she ruled the way she did. So if there's no question, we look back at things years from now, why we got to where we're at.
So be it.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I do. Well, briefly under attorney's report, next time we're here, I've got, by law, I'm required to adopt a policy regarding diversion program. When we hear the chief start talking about funds from the diversion fund, I guess I'm late to the game to realize we had a diversion program, so I adopted the policy, and I'm going to submit the policy simply for you guys to review. It's not really something that you need to worry about or something that the council needs to decide on. It's just for your information purposes, the policy that I use to govern when I give out a diversion to somebody that's applying for diversion. It also has an application process and a little something that we like our officers to hand out to people to remind them about the diversion program, because otherwise most people are going to put it on and just don't know about it. But that'll be in your packet next time.
And does that need to be an agenda item or just an FYI?
It can be an agenda item. It's basic because it adopts a lot of statutes, such as you can't give a diversion to somebody as a CDL by law, by federal law. And it lets that person know that don't even spend the money going through the diversion process because I can't give it to you. It adopts, I don't give diversions out for certain things, driving without a license, driving over 20 miles over the speed limit. I put it in policy, and that way nobody can complain about it later. So it just, and that policy will be updated from time to time depending on things that are learned, I guess, as we go through the process. But we can talk about it if you guys have a chance to read it. And I do probably need, I'm just going to do a 5-minute executive session. I can't return the client privilege. I do need clerk on this one, so I know. Mayor.
So I need a motion for executive session for attorney-client privilege.
Motion for 5-minute session, return client privilege. Thank you.
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Call meeting back to order. At the direction of council, I'm requesting that our city attorney draft a letter to the county attorney with regards to an open meetings violation that was discovered in minutes dating December of 2010 and January of 2011. You just directed. And do you have anything else?
No.
One other quick thing, on the house deal, how come the the house still hasn't been resolved yet on the criminal bank deal.
Well, because it had hail damage, and I got a call from Trey today, and they have settled on the adjustment, and we should get this stuff in the mail any time.
Why wouldn't they have already taken possession?
We were, kind of happened like, right there, we have everything to close, and then the hailstorm. So unless they want to take possession with hail damage,
Well, I mean, it was, once the settlement was taken care of, I mean, we know we gotta fix it, so, I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't understand why they haven't. They're even starting to get a little perturbed of why this has taken
Well,
3 months
we didn't
to
know.
take possession of that property.
we were, for the longest time, we were waiting for the insurance company, I guess I'm correct, to come out
To do the
inspect to see
adjustment.
whether there was even hail damage.
Yeah.
That was done on the 20th, I believe, is when they came, when they were contacted. I don't know when they actually got out here.
It was,
Just a week ago that
yeah,
they
he
were
just
actually
showed up
here.
a week ago, yeah.
So they have contacted Trey and said they have the numbers and they're gonna send it all.
How long ago, though, did we agree, or they do that?
I'd have to go back in the minutes, but it's been a while, I know. But we have to do everything in the right order with the right information. And we've been trying.
I guess that's the question, why didn't the property transfer at that time?
Well, yeah, we had a clear title.
Well, we didn't have clear title. There was discussion about how to do title insurance, and then we found out that the way the bank is going to do it, we decided not to make them buy title insurance. And then we had to figure out how the deed was going to be done because of the issue involving the age of the children. And then that time the hailstorm. I mean, it's not. What we decided from now on is we're just going to make everybody sign when they apply, make them sign a contract, so that if there's weather-related issues between now and then, it's clear when closing happens and when the title transfers.
I was gonna say, this is taking a long time.
We're ready to go as soon as we've been ready to go.
So this will get taken care of, like,
Well, that's the other issue, is if there's damage to the roof is going to have to be repaired. And I don't know what the damage is going to be to the roof. But at some point, we need to go have a land bank meeting to discuss what to do with those proceeds. Because the proceeds right now, those proceeds checks are being paid to
okay.
the city.
Can you get a hold of them?
We've talked to them. We've got a whole paperwork ready to go.
Well, can you get a hold of them and explain this to them before they even decide to back out? It's taking so long.
You're talking about the buyer.
The buyer,
Yeah. I mean,
they're
I'm
the
talking-
ones getting plumb irate about this taking 3 months to take over a house that was supposedly ready to go when we
And
did
it
this.
hasn't been 3 months, but we've talked to their attorney.
Can you call them
I will call.
and address to them and give them a timetable, please?
If I know a timetable, when we get a timetable as to when, again, I don't know anything about how long we're waiting on numbers. But once I get those, I can talk to you.
It should be in the next couple of days in the mail.
Anything else? New business. In your packets were appointments for the annual mayor's appointments for municipal judge Emerson Shields, city health officer Doris Tompkins, and city attorney John Beverlin. Also appointments to the planning commission board of zoning appeals. Mandy Sanders to a 1-year term until May 2016. She's replacing or continuing the term of Marshall Sanders, who resigned. Mary Peshka, 3-year term until May of 2016. Carl Bear, 3-year term until May of 2018. Alvin Rodarmel, 2-year term until May of 2017. And Joe Hudson, 2-year term until May of 2017. Need a motion to approve the appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second on the table. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Set date for planning workshop. Rolling into budget season again. Thought it might be beneficial for council to sit down. We did this a year and a half ago, I think it was, to talk about long-range and short-term capital improvements, equipment replacement, that type of thing. I don't know. I know everybody's busy this time of the year, so I don't know what's going to fit into schedule. So I'm open to suggestions, or if you would rather not do it at all. I just need to know that.
Actually, I thought it was a pretty good deal when we did it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
We could just continue, have it after either meeting in June. That would be soon enough to make any kind of budget provisions. If you wanted to do it on the same day instead of having a separate day.
It's up to council. I mean, last
Really?
time
Didn't we have that in the basement library last
Yeah, we
year?
did it like on
on a Saturday
Saturday morning or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
is what we did last time.
and I think we booked about 4 hours for it. So, and we spent the whole time. I mean, it doesn't have to be a morning. We could get, I mean, I'm sure that we could get the library for Saturday afternoon.
I would just shouldn't do it in the morning so it didn't mess the whole day up. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, that's my preference as well. It just seems like somebody, and I don't remember who said something about early Saturday morning, so.
it's fine with me.
Works for me.
What about June 6th? This Saturday's Jubilee. I've already got a commitment the following Saturday, so that would be the Saturday after. 6th, the 13th.
It's fine with me as far as I know.
Yeah, so make it work.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
8,
Yeah, at 8.
library hopefully.
Yeah, I'll give you, this is Snyder tomorrow. All right, executive session, non-elected personnel, which time?
15 minutes.
So I need a motion for an executive session for non-elected personnel, with council returning to meeting room at 8:15.
So moved.
Include,
Council, mayor, attorney.
That motion,
sorry,
Who made the motion?
Marshall.
All right, that's out there.
Mark makes it. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Call the meeting back to order. All right, old business, skating rink floor update.
Yes, I did get a call today from the carpet, and in case we want to do anything other as far as maybe bidding process, I'm just going to use rough numbers here, around $13,000 to do a complete wall in the skating rink, the cabinets, where the skates are, and the senior room, and the rec room, and the main area, and everything there.
That'd be.
So the whole thing,
the whole
right?
entire building.
Yeah, everywhere there's carpet, there'll be carpet again, so around 13. You want to stress that the carpet he's using is very good quality carpet used at school here and at other places, and it really holds up well. So at least we've got a basic number, and we can kind of start getting now the skating over with, and we'll get some little firmer numbers on the floor and go from there. And I guess we're glad you're coming up, because I
At
think
least, if you could have that information at the planning workshop, or try to, that would be wonderful. Street department on call policy. I know that that hasn't had anything done on it because you guys have been too busy. Okay, Mr. Clausen.
Okay. I did what you guys asked, filled out a little paperwork here. Give you a copy, that way you guys ain't running all over each other trying to see what's going on here. Troy? Sure. Mel, Mayor there, that logo. Marshall, no one here for John. There you go. Okay. From the paperwork that I got from you guys, shows here at the top, 2010, I used 303,000 gallons of water. I also wrote here what I used each year after that. You can see that there, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I've done a 4-year average on that. Before I go there, I guess, the total gallons for them 4 years was 250,000 gallons. I guess you'll note that that's not even what I used that 1 year yet in the last 4. I did a 4-year average on that. Comes to 62.5 thousand gallons a year, which makes a difference of 240,000.5 gallons of water that I feel like that I overpaid. I figured it 2 different ways. You can see the 12-month by 3,000 gallon minimum there on the information that John had given me. And you also see some scribbles because I was looking back over it when I got here this evening and realized that I times that by 36 instead of 12, so that number has changed. But for the $3,000 or 3,000 gallon minimum for 12 months, comes to $60 at $5 a month is where I got that from, because the minimum per month is $5 if you only use the minimum. That was in 2010.
Sorry, yeah.
Per thousand after that, it's 160, which comes to $327.20 in addition to the 36,000 gallons that I used 12 months, should have used 12 months on the minimum. She also outlined in the paperwork she gave me that there was a state mandated water protection fee of 0.032 per 1,000. That comes to $7.70.
But that's listed separate on your bill. That should, that and the CI, you know, that's why I said it's listed separate.
Okay, so that's no big deal. I didn't quite understand what that was all about, so I figured it in there. I also figured it another way, because if you figure the water at 160 per gallon, or per 1,000 gallon after your minimum versus what it costs, which is 1.66 cents, $1.66 per thousand anyway. The difference that I come up with was a total of $3.92 versus $3.94.90. So we're looking at $2.90 difference depending on which way you figure that. When you base it on a 3,000 gallon minimum and then per thousand used or just per thousand used. That is the information I've come up with. I feel very lenient on the numbers I used. Putting you guys not at all fault, because I realized this should have been acted on a little quicker than it was. And as I told you the last meeting, I lost track of time probably just as well as you guys did.
So what is it that you're asking us to do?
I guess what I'm asking is for the reimbursement of approximately, if you want to take the $770 off, approximately $384.80, or I didn't figure it off the $394, but the $394.90 minus $7.70. So roughly, I'm asking to be reimbursed at approximately $400
Okay.
for what I feel was overages of water that I paid for at that time.
Thank you for providing us with that information. I appreciate it. right, my first question is, we've gone through an appeals hearing. So where does that leave us legally?
Well, the appeals hearing was only for whether there should have been termination of the utilities, and Mr. Clausen paid, which prevented those utilities from being paid. There is nothing in ordinance regarding actually challenging somebody's water bill or any utility bill for that matter. I don't know of any mechanism, legal or otherwise, for somebody to go to the district court and challenge somebody's city utility bill.
And we refunded him his sewer fee.
That was a separate situation.
The sewer fee was figured on the higher water usage, so we refunded back to what his normal sewer fee had been.
Okay.
So that's why that acknowledged that it had been recalculated on higher usage, so we backed that off.
Is that sewer fee figured into that 1750 and then, okay.
I guess do you remember what you did in 2009?
No, I don't even have the information on that from John here because I didn't ask her for it for one because the issue come up in 2010. I mean, there's a month or two here, I think, in 2000. No, I guess there's not. It started in 2010.
So I guess where we're at this point is, the issue was brought to council back in 2011.
Yes, probably the first of 2011.
And council at that time reviewed it, and my understanding is that their determination was that the leak was on Mr. Clausen's side of the meter, and that there wasn't an issue with the meter. It was sent off and tested, and there were no problems found. Somebody's correct me if I'm not given the right information here. And that the council at that time decided to refund the excess sewer fee, and that was all they were willing to do. Am I correct in those statements?
I think that is that right, Scott?
I didn't, like I say, know about the sewer fee until I talked to her on our other issue with the that other deal they were talking about on the late fees, which I thought was related to that at the time, which is why I hadn't paid it yet.
That's right, isn't it?
That's my record.
That's the way I remember it. I just want to make sure I think the council decided that if the leak would have been on the city side, it wouldn't have went through the meter, so therefore it wouldn't have registered. And that's the reason that they charged the water fund. If it had been on the other side, it had to go through the meter. There's no way it would register without it. And if it did go through the meter, it would be on Scott's side. And that's the ruling. That's what we come up with back in 2010.
Am I allowed to speak on that? Yep. I guess my major complaint on that issue was there's never no evidence of any water going, that much water going through my meter. I'm not saying that there wasn't any. I mean, like, I discussed it with several people, even some employees of the city, and they talked like if I'd have been using that much water over there and a leak, not only my property would have been flooded, but the properties around me would have as well been flooded. So, but there was no evidence of any leak over there, whether it went through the meter or not.
Well, I mean, if they had to go through the meter, register on the meter.
I agree, but I don't know how your meters work, but the day that, or the week, I shouldn't say the day, the week the meter got changed, the problem went away. And at that time, I was told that we didn't change the meter. I had to find that out as well from this paperwork that Johnny gave me, where it states right in there, new meter on August the 5th of 2010.
And that meter was tested correct. And
There was nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
there's
it.
nothing wrong.
nothing wrong.
I mean, it came back, it was a certified test and it showed that it was registering correctly.
You need to tell them about that estimating thing because
Well,
they changed the
also
meter.
in, I guess, you guys' paperwork, it shows here August 5th, new meter, and the meter doesn't zero out until November. It keeps going in consecutive numbers. And November, or August 5th, it says new meter, and it shows my meter reading was 1,038. For September, it goes to 1,043. For October, it goes to 1,048, and then halfway between November and October, it shows 1,049, and then goes to 000, and then the next month 5. Now, why did that meter not start over at August if it was changed in August?
It wasn't being read, it was obviously being estimated, and that's where your problem is.
No, when they estimate it, they
Terry.
actually put estimate right beside it.
Okay.
Right, there is.
You know, I think it's hard to go back 5 years ago and be able to effectively deal with issues.
Paperwork's pretty explanatory to me.
I understand that, as far as what was charged. But as far as any of the rest of it,
What, you mean proven or not whether there was a leak?
we have a meter that was sent to the company and tested and returned to us with a certificate stating that it was working fine.
Right, and I asked why wasn't it put back in the hole then if it was taken out and tested? Because I still have the one they put in from that time.
Probably because they had already replaced it and it would have cost more time and staff effort to go back and take that meter out and pull the one that had been put in.
Or could it be that that information was just as false as some of this other information?
So the report that we got from the company that we sent the meter to was falsified somehow?
I don't know, but I'm saying it's possible because some of this other information is falsified. It don't make any sense.
Okay.
I mean, how am I supposed to trust that that paperwork was true and correct if the stuff that you've given me as far as your billing at that time is not even correct?
I mean, it can be the city's position that the city has already dealt with it, or city council members can think about it and ask Mr. Clausen to come back. I mean, that's up to you guys. Again, from a legal standpoint, it's kind of hard to unring the bell, so to speak, and it's been so long. I'm not sure Mr. Clausen has the means of redress other than through the city council.
And may I clarify that statement of the billing being incorrect? I mean, they billed off of what came in, you know, what the
I'm not
reasons-
blaming anybody in particular.
I know,
I'm just
but
saying what
if-
you wrote
if
down in your
somebody-
paperwork, whoever done it, is not accurate.
And I don't think that maybe is a true statement.
Well,
I would challenge
it's right
that.
here in black and white.
It might be your interpretation of it is different than what it is intended.
How do I interpret it any different if the meter was changed in August and the readings don't change till November?
This is the first time you've said this to us, so I don't have a chance to even look at it and see, or even look at the whole situation regarding that.
Well, I didn't understand it either, so I actually visited with some of your own city employees to understand it.
Okay.
So it come from them, and they said there was some faulty stuff going on there.
Was that at the time?
It's as frustrating for me as it is for you guys, okay? There was an enormous amount of water that was supposedly used at my property that there was never no evidence of it being used. As I've said in the past, my yard is as dead. Of course, it's nice now. We've had so many inches of rain. But in the past 4 or 5 years, my yard has been as dead as your street out here. I don't water it. The neighbors don't take care of theirs. Why should I take care of mine? No sense in watering it. If there was that many gallons of water leaking at my house, I think I'd have had a pretty plush green yard, don't you?
Who knows? It would probably depend on where it was leaking. But the problem here is that we're talking 5 years ago. The staff that was employed at that time isn't here to question. I mean, the meter reading staff and the billing staff. And that's the part of the issue I'm having, is that it's really hard to go back after 5 years and not have the ability to question the people that were involved at the time to possibly answer some of your questions.
So we're just supposed to forget about it because it was 5 years ago instead of last year.
Well, I can say, Scott, if that had been my bill, it had never got dropped.
I didn't know it was, Troy. That's what I said. I was shown a letter that supposedly I got. I don't ever recall receiving. I was told that I was given a $141 reimbursement. I didn't know anything about any of that. This whole deal got dropped back then, not by me, but by you guys. Well, not you guys, but at the council at that time.
Well, I'm just saying if it was me, it wouldn't have got dropped. I mean, if I thought I was getting charged $400 that I didn't deserve,
and I think I told you last
pain in somebody's,
I think I told you last meeting that I also let it go for a while because I wanted to make sure that the water stayed leveled off. And I admit it that time got away. But I think 4-year average shows pretty consistent now. So it was 4 years instead of 2. Still shows pretty consistent. If you guys don't want to deal with it here, I can get an attorney and we can just go to court over it. It doesn't matter to me. I was giving you guys the opportunity to take care of it here because this number's going to be a whole lot bigger if it goes to court.
Scott, is there water going to your garage?
No. That's the frustration of it, Bob. There was never no evidence of using 10,000 gallons of water over there, let alone 30, 40, 50,000 a month. And I think common sense would say if there's that much water, even in a leak, you're going to see it somewhere. When you have a main break out here in the street, somebody sees it.
Unless it was going down the sewer, you'd never see it.
I don't have any water lines close to my sewer line, so I don't know how that would happen, but
Toilets, anything. I mean, unless if it went straight down the sewer, you'd never see it, is all I'm saying.
you're talking in like a leaky faucet or, well, I also replaced 2 toilets in my house and 5 faucets.
No, you asked, I just said. If
So
it went straight
I'm
down
pretty
the
sure
sewer,
I didn't
you would
have a
never
leak
notice it.
with a faucet or a toilet.
I believe the school had an issue where it went straight down the sewer too, if I remember right.
Right, that was just recent.
So,
Well, wouldn't you see an overabundance of water at your sewer plant then?
I have no
If
idea.
you're getting 50,000 extra gallons of water out there?
Wouldn't think so in the scheme of that thing, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay, council can either make a motion to reimburse Mr. Clausen, they can take no action. I need some direction.
I'd like to table this thing. I'd like to see the gallons that was used in 2007, 2008, and 2009 before we do any type of decision.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that, but I think we need to resolve this. This is dragging on far too long.
Okay,
So, but I'm in agreement. I think we
put
need
it
to
on
see
the,
it.
put it on the table.
Yep.
We'll vote on it, whatever.
Okay, when you say you think this is taking far too long, what do you think we need to do?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I want to see some more numbers though on this.
I want to make a decision next meeting. Make a decision next meeting.
All right. So we will put together the numbers for 2007, 2008, 2009. Actually, why don't you go ahead and run them from 2007?
When did you move in there, Scott? Way before then, right?
Yeah, I've lived there for almost 15 years, so.
Okay. Just so we ain't trying to pull up somebody else's water numbers.
Right.
So.
These are gonna be very pretty good, but
I think my wife said it was 2001 when we actually bought the place and moved in.
And that'll be an item for the next council meeting.
Now I turn around, I'd like to have a 5-minute executive session, council, mayor.
Okay.
what,
Water bill, same issue,
Attorney-client privilege.
attorney-client privilege, maybe a lawyer too.
So, 5-minute executive session
5
to
minutes.
include council, mayor, and the attorney.
Correct.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?